Hi. Um, I will make a video now where I will do all exercise installing Ubuntu first time, extending the disk and installing a second operating system, Fedora, into the virtual machine. So the virtual machine is a dual boot. And I will do that on a firmware workstation on Windows as a host. So I'm now at the Windows host here. I have VMware and I have downloaded the necessary ISOs. I will start to install the Ubuntu system. Create a new virtual machine. Always take the custom wizard. That's okay. Most recent. I will install the operating system later. Put the DVD later on in the system, virtually seen. There will be a Linux and Ubuntu 64. And the name will be Compasses, like that. I'll give it 2 cores. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. So I'm doubting if I will give it 3. Yeah, perhaps we'll do. So I will do 1 processor and no, it has to be an even one. Well, 2 I will do like this. 4 cores. 4 GB RAM is okay. Not networking okay. The default setting. The LSE SCSI hard disk controller is also okay. I will use the SCSI interface for my hard disk drive, and I will make a new one. 20 GB is okay. I won't split it, and I won't allocate it, so I keep it like this. And I'll name it something like this. It's okay. Voilà. So the system is made. Voilà. And now I'm going to put in the right DVD. It's an ISO, of course. I don't have a DVD driver in this system. And I'm going to look for, oops, details. Where do I start? I know that's downloads, of course. There I have ISO. I was looking for the ISO. I need the Ubuntu desktop. This one. Voilà. Connected power on. And okay, I start the machine. So it boots, the system boots. Running a virtual machine. Okay, leave it as it is. I boot the virtual system. And just a minute. Just stop the bootloader. And of course the mouse is gone. There is something, a message. I ignore the message here. It's very small. This one, it's a console screen, 640-480, I guess. This is a bootloader, and I interrupted it by clicking into the black screen and push some kind of button, for instance, an arrow or down. In this case, so then I stop the counter. Normally, it will be some 5 seconds. This menu appears. So the bootloader, I forgot to uh, show you something, and I will show it to you now. Settings. Is it? It's a legacy BIOS system. This one. So I also made a video on Linux host for UEFI Ubuntu. Now I have the legacy BIOS. I forgot to mention that. And we'll see the difference later on if you look at the Linux video as well. You will see in the partitioning on the disk the difference. So the boot menu, this machine, VMware boots the system. It sees a disk. It will try to boot first the disk normally, but it will not find an operating system. So it will try further on, and then it tries the DVD player, and there is a bootable disk inside the DVD player, being the Ubuntu installer disk virtually. So it boots this DVD, and then yeah, as a result, you first get this bootloader. You should normally leave it as it is, and click on Focus and try or install Ubuntu, and I will do that. So also ignore the VM messages. I push now enter. I take away focus, and so this is a very small screen, but the installer is graphical, so it will change a little bit. Voila, here it is. So from now on, we have in fact kind of graphical user interface. It's not a command line interface anymore. If you would install the Ubuntu server or another command line interface based operating system, it will stay this tiny as it was earlier while booting. Because it's 640/480, then I have to enlarge the screen, or I have to change my display resolution, my computer. Otherwise, it stays that small. So we try, maybe wait. So this yellow one is a cursor from my host. And here you see the cursor from Ubuntu. It makes some noise in my headphone. I don't know if you hear it. This is a cursor from the virtual machine, the virtual cursor. The yellow hand is the real cursor from my Windows host. I click inside this window and my yellow hand disappears. I have here the installation. What happened before, I had a kind of choice of what application to choose, and I chose the installation, and that's why it's looking like this now. I'm in the installer. I keep English. Don't configure the accessibilities. The keyboard, you should choose one. You should choose one that fits your computer. Otherwise, you keep it's very confusing. But it's your own choice, of course. I normally have the US International with dead keys. That's the key. That's the variant of the US here. If you want, for instance, a Belgian keyboard, you go not to Dutch. You also use a QWERTY, a Belgian, and then I have variants like this. The default is okay. So some of you will choose this, other choose something completely different. I do the English, if I can find it. Yep, US International with dead keys. Voila. That's the keyboard I choose. A wired connection, a virtually wired connection, and install Ubuntu. Next, interactive installation. Yes, please do. With apps, default selection, it's okay. Install recommended proprietary software, preferably, but unless you are a very open source minded freak, only wants open source software, and you shouldn't choose this, but there are some disadvantages when you do not choose them. What would you like to install? Erase disk, yeah, that's what we want. It's an empty disk, it's a new disk, so then it asks for an account. I give my full name, although I don't have focus. It's a little bit VMware thing. Have to take care. Computer name Compsys, and my username just my given name. Yep, and the password I won't tell you. No, do not show. As I have to restart the recording. No Active Directory and a requirement to use my password. Okay, in Brussels, or in the neighborhood of Brussels. And it's a review of all the your choices, and I do the install. So now it's installing, and perhaps it's a good idea to pause the recording. You won't notice in 2 seconds after I say this, it's installed, but I will wait until it is. Pause the. Not stopping. I cannot pause, that's true, but OBS, I'm sorry, in this configuration. So I will leave it anyway, because I don't want to edit videos and put all videos together. I hope it won't take too long. I will try while installing. I will try if I can pause, because it's a little bit strange here. I can choose this, but I had to do something in the settings, but I don't know anymore what it is. So if I pause, it's possible I stop. We'll see. So we're back online. Yeps, didn't know the pause button worked. Not used to using OBS. Most of the time I record my videos on Linux. Anyway, Compsys installation has finished, so I now can restart. Now normally I should restart without the DVD. You see here, by the way, in the system tray, so the hard disk is on, green, not being written. This green light starts to blink when there is activity, and changes color when it's reading or writing. Same goes for DVD, of course. Normally you don't write. Networking in out, and also sound is on. Okay, I will restart. Normally in a real bare metal situation, the Ubuntu installer will throw out the DVD, and I think you can see that also virtually when the DVD is graying out here, the second icon. So I'm in my system. You see there's already a mouse integration. My yellow arrow from the host and the black from Ubuntu. Okay, so I push a restart and it should restart. Voila. You see the lights blinking here down, and the DVD is thrown out. Yeah? And then Ubuntu, it's typical for Ubuntu, asks to press enter. So I do. I click in the window and I press enter, and the system reboots, and now it finds the operating system on the hard drive. There is no DVD, as you can see here. When I go to the VM settings, the virtual machine settings, Compsys, you will see that it is connected at power on. Ubuntu ignores it. Um, so you should be aware that normally your system is adding the DVD. Okay, so I can log in now. With the password, I didn't tell you. Yeah, so we're in. The use of the system, some other exercise. Welcome to Ubuntu and another post-installation wizard. Enable Ubuntu Pro. You want to pay. Help improve. No people who are doing that. Starting with more applications. You can look at the App Center if you want, but I won't do that. To open the terminal, I click here left, down left. Just a minute before I do that. Yeah. When I enlarge the screen, you see the resolution is following it. The character remains small. You have to change the fonts and so on, but you can enlarge the desktop if you want automatically because some kind of VM tools are already installed. So I now have a command line interface. If I do, for instance, a disk tree with focus here df, then you can see that most part of the disk, so about 20 million bytes, 20 billion bytes, sorry, 20 million 1K block, is used for the main file system, but it's already half used. We don't see any other normal partitions besides this one. Now, if we go now to this disk utility, and disks here, it shows me this. So two storage devices, the hard disk and the DVD. We'll have a look at the DVD. You see there is no media, it's empty, it's grayed out here as well, so no DVD in this system. But we're interested here, and now we see this. We see this, and we see a disk of about 20 gigabyte, partitioned, divided into partitions. It's a legacy. This is a BIOS boot, but it's not. Just a minute, mount. Sorry, unreadable. Yeah, no, it's not mounted. This first boot partition, but it is used by the system. And we have here the large partition, which is our Ubuntu installation. Yeah, so we can work with our Ubuntu installation. But now we want to enlarge this disk in an next exercise. So we have room to install another operating system to make this virtual system a multi-boot. How do we do that? Well, we go to the virtual machine settings. By the way, this had nothing to do with the fact that there is some Ubuntu installed, so it's about the machine and the settings of the machine. If I go to the hard disk, I get this, and I can expand, but I cannot expand because it's grayed out. It's grayed out in this case because I'm running the machine. The machine is running, so it should turn it off. Also, when you have snapshots, for instance, have made snapshots, you cannot expand. You have to delete the snapshots first. So I reboot. No, sorry. I halt the system, and I can do that on command line with the halt commando. But I have to do that as a super user, so I do a sudo -p from power off. I can do this also graphically like this. Power off, but I will do it on command line. this, then I have to give my, I have to authenticate myself, and the system is going down. And now I go back to this hard disk. Now I can expand it. I expand it, and the maximum size will go to 35 instead of 20. And it starts expanding. It takes a few seconds. If you look at my Linux system, you will see the difference in speed of the system. This is quite a fast system. More modern cores and so on. It's okay. So I now have a disk of 35 gigabyte. More nice. Okay. What's happening? What happens when I power on the machine? Again, this message. I tend to leave those messages as they are. So sometimes a student asks me, I get those messages and you don't get them in your video. Yeah, that's because then I click them away, but that's why I don't click them away, so you always see them. Sometimes it can be a little annoying for yourself. You choose whether you click them away or not. So I log in to my system. Get my yeah, by the way, the screen resolution from last time has been lost because I didn't store them. I didn't fix them. I just changed them on the fly live. Doesn't matter. If I now go to a terminal and I do df, then you see there's nothing changed here. Brr. Nothing has changed. Now I'm going to see, because Ubuntu doesn't see what's happened. What happened? If I can, by the way, I can't. If I need to be root. For this I can. No need to be root. Just a list of the partitioning of the disk. No, so I do have to be sudo. Don't know. Okay, I have to type myself. So you see, although it is a legacy boot system, it is a GPT, by the way, a GPT formatted disk. Doesn't matter at this point, but you see two partitions. We saw them in the disk utility, but the size has increased. And if I would start editing this partition by not giving the -L option like this, I just show it as this. I can add this new, I guess. Yeah, you see, I can make a new partition. I won't do that. I won't do that at this point. But it's possible in this way on command line. When I go to the disks utilities, I see about the same. The DVD, you know already. The disk has increased 30. What does it say? 38 gigabyte. And we now see 3 blocks. The first partition, the second partition, we still know. Still the same, but we have extra free space, and it's free space. So it's not partitioned, it's not a partition, it's free space. We can use that to do all kind of things. We can format it and use it as a data disk for this system, Ubuntu. Or, and that's what we are going to do, we are going to install another operating system. So we want to install an operating system in that free space, like we did with Ubuntu. Now to do that, we have to start the virtual system on a while booting a DVD, the installation DVD of Fedora. Sorry. So we are not going to start it on the hard drive starting Ubuntu, but we are going to start it on the DVD Fedora DVD installation DVD. sorry. So it's not inserted yet, so I have to do that. But I will do that because we have to instruct our machine to not boot from the hard disk, because that's the first boot device it will try. We have to instruct it not to do that, but to start from DVD. We have to get into the BIOS or in the boot sequence, and I'll show you how you do that properly in VMware. To do that, we have to shut down our machine. So I will do it now graphically here. Power off. Yips, power off. Mind you, I didn't need to authenticate myself on command line. I did have to do that. Okay, system has shut down. I'm going to insert the Fedora installation DVD. I downloaded it already. So I now go here and I say browse and give me the Fedora workstation here. You see, I downloaded it half an hour ago. System. So I put this DVD on and I make sure it's connected at power on. It's very important. Now, anyway, with this DVD inserted, normally it can happen, depends on your BIOS, but you can expect that the system, when it boots, just first reads the hard disk and it will boot from hard disk. So this DVD doesn't do anything. It can happen your boot sequence is in such a way configured, it will try first the DVD before it goes to the hard drive. Legacy systems do that often, but you don't know it by head. So what we do is we call a one time boot selector. Yeah. And we do that by not just powering on the machine, but by choosing this option VM power and power on to firmware. So the machine will boot with all those nasty things, and it will get this one. And this is a BIOS, the legacy BIOS. When you look at my Linux videos, I recorded this morning, you will notice an UEFI boot firmware, let's say, because that's there it was an UEFI system. Now, what do I have to do here? What do I need to do here? If I want to do it from here, I have to go to boot, and then I have to move the CD-ROM drive up, because this is the boot order. And I need to push the plus, so it will first boot into the CD-ROM. This should do the job if I save this setting, of course. Do not forget to save the setting. You will see here F10 save and exit. It will be very small in the recording. I'm sorry. You have to make sure in the BIOS by using the plus, the CD-ROM drive is in first or second place in any way before the hard drive. And just a minute. Yep. And we have to save it by pressing F10 or choosing the option here, exit saving changes, and I press enter because I don't save configuration and exit now. Yes, and now it will boot normally, and it will try the DVD indeed. I press a down button to stop this grub again, a grub bootloader. But now the grub bootloader, which is on the Fedora installation DVD. And we're going to start the Fedora installation workstation live. Normally should also test the media. I'm assuming it. No, this is the default setting, so I will do that. It can always happen. I press enter, and in the meantime, it can always happen while downloading, your ISO file is corrupted, and then you start to install. It happened to me also earlier. Uh, you start to install, and it takes a long time, and at the end, the installation is aborted because some part of the DVD is corrupted. So now it's checking, as you see, and it goes quite fast. So it's worth to do it and to wait a few seconds. It's not recommended to use this media. Failed to start checksum. We check on the media check. So what do I do now? We do not recommend using this medium. System will halt in 12 hours. Okay, so that's not very nice. Although I did download it perfectly, but I don't have a checksum. So I shut down the guest. Oh, and I do it again, and now I will not check the medium. Normally it should install. We'll see what happens. And normally I don't need to go into the boot menu if it is legacy boot, because the settings I changed earlier will still be active, as you see here. So I boot the system again, and I won't test the medium. I don't know if I indeed did download a corrupt ISO. We'll see later. Shouldn't get this error anyway. Fedora is started, a live version. I could use this Fedora. It's running off the DVD, but I want to install, so I immediately choose install like this. Looks a little bit different, but in fact it's the same user interface as Ubuntu, different colors and so on. But I would choose English as the installation language, and then I get this kind of installation wizard, typical for Red Hat. So the keyboard I will change. You change it in your keyboard. I will change it in mine, being US with international with dead keys, and I will remove the other one. And when I am finished here, I press here left above done. Installation, the time data, Brussels time zone. That's okay. But destination now, it sees this one, this disk, 35 gigabyte with 15 gigabyte free about. I'm going to leave it on automatic. I leave installation wizard to deal with everything. So I press done. You have to go in the installation destination before it will function. And now I get a blue button, begin installation. And it starts, and it takes some time. You see, ooh, it uses BTRFS as a file system formatting. It's interesting to have a look at it later. It's not for the installation process, of course. It's on 1%. I guess I will pause the recording again. See you later. So, we're back again. For you, it's only 2 seconds. For me it was a few minutes until I get this message, finished installation. Click on finish installation, completed, sorry, the message was completed. Now I'm still in the live version, the live installation running off the DVD here. What I have to do now is to reboot and to see what it did with my bootloader on hard disk, of course. I have to reboot, making sure it doesn't boot on the DVD, because with my legacy BIOS system, I have changed the boot order to start with this DVD. I should change that so it goes to the hard drive. And because of that, I will not just reboot, but I will power off and change and eject at least the DVD to begin with. So I just power it off and not restarting it. You see the buttons, they're quite alike the buttons in Ubuntu. And then I will go to the DVD and I will say to not connected power on. It's important. And then I probably should change the boot order. For FE systems, you don't need to do that. It's for legacy BIOS, So I will power on into the firmware and change the boot order again. Yes. Where's my mouse here? Need to have focus in the window. So I will, with the minus sign, I will put it down. Sorry, it was here. That's okay, like that. So in this configuration, it will first try to boot of USB devices and so on, then the hard drive. What I can do is to speed it up, the boot sequence, I can put the hard drive on top. So it will immediately go to the place I want to go. Save, exit saving changes, yes. And it will boot on the hard drive. And what happens? I get quite an elaborate boot menu. I immediately interrupted it. I don't know exactly how long it will stay on screen. Should test it. But so again, the grub BIOS menu, boot menu, sorry, and I can choose to boot Fedora, and I can choose to boot Ubuntu. There are some other options with a rescue Fedora and also some also kind of recovery rescue Ubuntu's, but the main choices are the first one to boot Fedora and the second to do boot the Ubuntu. First we'll try the Ubuntu. And I hope that will work. It looks like it's working. Password is still it's the same. Wow. So I go to the disk utilities. I see my hard disk and I see it's partitioned in different way. This one is the same. This boot for FE machines, it will be an FE partition. This is my Ubuntu partition. This is a boot partition. It's not mounted in Ubuntu, but this is the boot partition for Fedora. And then here is Fedora. You see the name. It's BTRFS formatted, not extended for. Though Fedora Red Hat chose to go to BTRFS, which is quite an interesting formatting standard with some very nice possibilities, not for today. But it's both not mounted. I can mount it. Ubuntu, um, the Ubuntu Linux can read those partitions, for instance, I will try to show that to you. I have to have a terminal, and I have to be a super user. I will do this, and then I can easily do for some random default mounting. There is the MNT directory in the file system to do that. So I will show it. I just do it like that. Mount def sda 3 mnt. I just do it like that. Doesn't say anything. When I issue the mount and I pipe it with the grep sda, you will see it is mounted and it recognized the extended 4. When I have a look at it, there is some things in it, the boot environment for the Fedora. So I stay off it unless I want to rescue the Fedora. So I unmount it again. Sorry, mount MNT like this, and I can do the same thing. I don't know if the BTRFS utilities are installed. It will tell us in a minute. Mount def SDA 4 at what I think, yes, and it does mount grep SDA, and you see it recognize the BTRFS. What's inside this partition? Yeah, mouse here. Home and root. It's the special way on how BTRFS does it. Root. There I find the real root for the Fedora system. I unmount it again. Don't need it this morning. But you see, I can get into those file systems because the running operating system understands the file system format. Excuse me. So I'm going to reboot the system. And I get the grub menu again, the boot menu, and I go to Ubuntu. Now, yeah, I change it. Next time I will have a look on how long the boot menu will stay on. I could go into the grub options, but can easily experiment with that. No, not start Ubuntu. Sorry, I start the Fedora. Is that working? Looks like so. Looks like it. But it has a post installation. It isn't installed completely, as you see. So we have to, where's my mouse here? Start setup. Location okay, automatic problem reporting not okay. Third party, yes, please do. Yes, then it asks for a username. Yeah. The options, there are some options of the name. I choose this one. I give a name. And I need, of course, enter a password twice. Again, make sure you have the right keyboard layout. All done. Now the installation has finished. And there is a tour. You can take it. I will skip it. And it looks a little bit different, but in fact it's the same user interface. I click here and then I can choose a few things here like a browser and so on. But here are the rest of the apps, and you recognize the terminal. Ta-da. And I can also go to utilities and have a look at the disks, and you'll see the same layout. Of course, it's because it's looking at the same disk. And also here you can this one is mounted at boot, and this one is a file system root, but this BTRFS. It's a little bit more complicated because of the BTRFS. If I do now mount just a minute. I don't have a pipe. What's happening? The keyboard layout is wrong. Aha. So I have to look for my pipe sign. It's not for this video. I will look it up. I don't know what happened exactly. Mount, just do a mount. It's a lot of information. I wanted to pipe with it into a grep for another day. What is important is a lot of. Here you have the boot mount of the boot file system, and then you have the BTRFS for the home, and the BTRFS for the root will be there somewhere as well. And you see here it is. And you see it's very convenient to have the right keyboard layout. There's some translation problem between my real keyboard and the Fedora. I didn't have the problem with Ubuntu. Very strange. Critical updates is very nice. But I can also do the other way around. I can do as a root def as the A2 mounted Ubuntu system, and I have to enter my passwords. And when I have a look at MNT, you will see my Ubuntu file system. It's colored in blue. You cannot read it, but it's there. Yeah. So, of course, these are default installations. If I will make with the control, yeah, okay, I can enlarge the font. That's better for educational purposes. So you see, I can mount it. I can also unmount it. So mount MNT, and it has gone. Voila, I have a dual boot virtual system. And that was all I want to explain to you. So I will finish the recording. Stop recording.